Hey everybody, Mr. Flanders here. We are at it with day 4 of social studies, and yesterday we started building our, or identifying our school timeline. Well, today we're going to take it a step further and explore it a little bit more. So please go ahead and pull out day 4 in your learning packet, so we can go ahead and get started on it. See you in just a second. Alright everybody, let's go ahead and take a look at today's timeline assignment in social studies. Before we really delve into it though, let's go ahead and start off with putting our name at the top of the paper. Mr. Flanders. The date is 8/27/20. If you remember, the 8 stands for August. It is the 8th month. 27 is for the day, and the 20 is for the year. We've just written our date in digits. Alright, so we're still learning about timelines. We could see that, obviously, with the timeline right here. And the last timeline we did, we were talking about, things that happen before we go to school. Well, now what we're talking about is stuff that happens when we go to school, when we're at school. Alright? Now, if you remember, timelines are generally important because they help us keep track of things in a particular order. If we wake up in the morning, we know that, well, the first thing we should do is maybe go to the bathroom, then we should get dressed, have breakfast, okay? If we didn't have a timeline of those things, that means our routine would kind of just be all over the place, and we really wouldn't have a great idea of how to have a good morning. Well, same as for history, same as for the things that happen in life, okay? When we can put things on a timeline, that helps us keep better track of things, so things don't feel like they're all over the place or chaotic, okay? Timelines really help us keep memories and routines in order. So, with that all out of the way, and with that explanation done, what we're going to do is we're going to look at our timeline here, and then we're going to answer this first question, and then we're going to talk about the second question. Let's go over our timeline though. The first spot on our timeline says, we come to school. So that's what happens first. We have math. That's what comes second on the timeline. We have recess. That's third. We have reading. Okay, that's number 4. And then number 5. We eat lunch. Okay, and the great thing is each picture kind of shows us what's going on that part of the timeline. So we got the kiddos walking to class. We've got this kiddo standing in front of a chalkboard with math on it. We've got the kiddos here hanging out on the jungle gym. We've got the kiddos here with a book. We got everybody here eating. All right, so not only do we have the sentences telling us what's going on, but we have the pictures too. All right, let's go ahead and look at question 1. When do they have lunch? So let's find lunch on the timeline. Okay, we know it's the last thing that they do. Okay, so they eat lunch at the, right here. But when do they have lunch? We need to know if it's before recess, after reading, before school. Okay, so those are our choices. Again, it's before recess, after reading, or before school. Now let's think about some of these choices first. We know that we eat lunch at this part of the timeline. Okay? There's nothing else that is happening after lunch that we can see. Everything else is happening before lunch on the timeline. Okay? So lunch is here. Everything that's happening this way is before it. That means that stuff has to come first, and then we can have lunch. So, first things first, let's look at answer C. It says we have lunch before school. Well, if we notice, we come to school is the first thing on the timeline. If we had lunch first, lunch would be all the way over here. But it's not. It's all the way over here. So that shows us no. We do not have lunch before we come to school. Now, A says we have lunch before recess. Okay, well, let's find recess. Recess is right here. Okay, do we eat lunch over here somewhere? Because over here is where lunch should be if we're eating it before recess. Nope. Lunch is all the way over here. Okay, that means it happens after recess. Okay, recess has to have already happened for us to eat lunch. Let's see. When do we have lunch? Do we have lunch after reading? Well, let's find reading. So we've got reading here, and then we've got lunch. So does lunch happen after reading? It does. It does. Okay, because if lunch happened on this side of reading, on this side of the timeline, that means it happened before it. We'd have to have lunch before we can go to reading. But no, we have reading first and then we go to lunch. So that is the answer. We have lunch after reading. All right. Then, number 2, you are on your own for this one. This is going to be a really good one, though. Okay, and here's what I'm going to set you up to do. Okay, it says, what would you add to this timeline? Draw it. Okay, so if you look at the timeline here, you know it's got we come to school, we have math, we have recess, we have reading, and we eat lunch. Okay, 5 things, but there's a lot of room to put other items there on the timeline. So my question to you is, what would you add to the timeline? Would you add maybe going to music? Would you add maybe going to PE? Would you add gummy bear time? Would you add nap time? What would you put on this timeline? All right. What I want you to do is draw it and then color it, make it look fantastic, and then we'll see. We'll see how it looks on that timeline. All right. But after that, we'll be done with social studies for the day. Okay. That's it. With that being said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about timelines, let me know. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty easy today, okay? So I'm going to let you get running, let you get started on that picture for the timeline. I can't wait to see it. I know you guys are going to show me some really cool stuff, and I'm really excited about it. But until our next lesson, guys, stay strong, stay safe, stay positive, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.